Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. In today's podcast, I want to talk about mindfulness and share some story of, I will say, the oxymoron of pretending to be mindful. But I wanted to read the definition of mindfulness is the quality or state of being conscientious or aware of something. Their mindfulness of a wider cinematic tradition, a mental state achieved by focusing one awareness of the present moment while calmly acknowledge and accepting one feeling, thoughts, and body sensation used as the therapeutic technique. So, I got another definition said is the basic human ability to be present, aware of where we are and what we're doing, and not overly reactive or overwhelmed. A lot of people want to try to be mindful. Mindfulness is a practice. It's not something that because you have done it for 5 minutes, then you're going to have an aha moment and be mindful. Mindfulness is part of life. Is studying as an apprentice, becoming a journeyman, and mastering it. But it takes years to do that. It takes very rigorous practice to be mindful and consistent. Consistency is the key. It's like everything else. If you think about it, your skill set you already have in your life for the work, the job you're doing, or what you're doing at home. Maybe you like to cook, maybe you like to design, maybe you like to draw. Those are skill set we acquired throughout the years. The practice, the repetition, it's practice, 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 practice. Now, mindfulness become kind of a word thrown in everybody else's face. It's like the same then at teamwork. Oh, we're not a teamwork here. You're not a teamwork because this is the way you attack individuals. Oh, you're not a teamwork. Yeah, you don't communicate. Yeah, you don't do this. You don't do that. Mindfulness is being used and abused by individuals who are not as aware of what they're doing, aware they're acting, the way that they are not present in a moment, but always reactive to situation. I have shared a story in regard of what happened to us a month ago. And that was in regard of going to practice actually with monks, Buddhist monks. And the room and a couple of, one individual, but a couple of individuals, three actually, but one was worried about the weather, assuming my God, because the TV says so and the TV channel over there says so, it was the end of the world, which, to be honest with you, nothing happened, which was like, really? Neither my app on my phone was telling me it was the end of the world coming in, but that's the way it happened. And the other individual, we're going to call her Babaliba. I like that. Babaliba sounds good. I have to remember I call her Bubbly Ba. Decided to go even more psychotic on that, like a full-blown psychosis, because again, it's gonna be storming. So instead of being mindful and aware that you're in a church right now, you got the space, you got a basement. If anything happened, we go into the basement and we're just fine. No, they decided to stop the session. It was just ridiculous. Okay, so You ask yourself when you see this, and you're like, okay, people, you are certified teacher for mindfulness, whatever the deal is, but you're reacting to the opposite spectrum of being mindful. You are not grounded. You're not aware of how you react and what you're saying. And that energy is being passed down to people who are more sensitive to others and will react because they are wary of things like that, weather or anything else. So when you're looking at mindfulness, is again, like I said, it's a practice. It's being aware of our own energies. I know when my energies are high, peaceful, serene. And I know when my energies are like a yo yo, then I am in and out of my body, not happy, not feeling my best. I acknowledge that. And to be even nicer to others, and I used to do that in the office. When I used to go to the office, I used to say, hey, I'm not in a good mood, so it's better to leave me alone. Let me be for today. And people were mindful. They were respectful. Say, oh, she's not in a good mood. We're going to leave her alone, or I'm going to bother her when I need something, but I'm not going to create chaos. That's the awareness. Most individual will react. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm coming. It's like I'm making the weather so everybody is going to take it in their face. And I've seen it quite often. Being mindful, pretending to go and practice is one thing. But when you go to practice or pretending to practice, it has to be done every day. You set the tone of your day. Nobody else does it. You do. Regardless of the out of condition, regardless of what's going on, you are the master of your own destiny. And I know that because as I said, I'm recording and it's going to be the beginning of October when you're going to hear this one too. It's been an interesting week this week because with the full moon and the beginning of the eclipse, it has been like a little Mercury retrograde in one way because a lot of chaos came with it within a day. It's like you think you're, in a good space, and all of a sudden you receive one phone call that triggers something, another one that triggers something, and you're like, what in a world, with messages that don't make any sense, and you're like, oh boy, chaos is here. How and what am I going to do about that? But your mindfulness is your key, meaning take the time to be aware on how you feel. What is the situation you're in? Are you trying to push your own thoughts on everybody else's and your own doing because you decided to do not be mindful or respectful of others? Because mindful will go with respect in my book. If you're not mindful, that means you're not respectful. Basically, you are not giving the right space for people to be. And we can be in a heat of the moment. We can react and overreact for a lot of things. That I understand. But when you know what triggers you and you're aware of it, ask yourself, why am I being triggered right now? Why? Because I have people with nonsense who are pushing me left and right. I don't want this. So you step back and you readjust your own energy, or try to. I used to go, when I was working in a very toxic environment, one of the worst one I've seen, was to go outside for 5 minutes, taking fresh air, getting out of that space to be able to ground myself for a minute or two, or 5 minutes, and come back inside. And I used to do it at least twice a day. Instead, then sitting in a cube, in a space where you could feel that energy creeping on you. So you have to ask yourself, am I aware of the situation where I am? Am I aware of what's going on and how do I interact with people? Am I aware of the person creeping on me? If so, set your boundaries. One of the biggest challenges you're going to find, and people are always saying that, and I've seen it often, then I push back and I just respond back. You used to be nice before, but now you're mean. No, I'm not mean. I just set my boundaries. No, you cannot climb that barrier because I'm pushing you back. And people don't like to be rejected. Nobody likes to be rejected. They don't. Even somebody say, yeah, I can get it. No, you don't. If somebody doesn't want you in their space, there is a reason. And most people have a tendency to push, 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 push. I'm seeing in Dululu world here. They push, they push, they push. I don't know, and they continue to text when they don't even look at it. They are being blocked, and you're like, really? You're not that smart? You didn't even realize that your iPhone's gonna tell you the color of the text. If the color of the text has changed from green to blue, that's a problem. Especially when the other person has an iPhone. They know. You should know when it's blocked. Very simple thing. Do not go into people's throats because you feel like, oh my God, they're not reacting. People need their space. Being mindful is being aware, having the awareness of your surrounding. How many of you have that? How many of you have experienced that nobody gives a crap and they will walk all over your face? This is where you need to set your boundaries because it brings so much stress in your life. You need that space to breathe. We all have our own space. I'm going to approach you and I'm going to come into your space for a few minutes and I'm going to back out from it. You're going to come into my space. We're sharing a space temporarily. And you back out and we back out and we move along. So I have seen disaster. I have seen things at church where always, the people who go to church and they sit on the first pew of the church because it's a contest. I've seen it here. I'm like, oh my God, you people are crazy. And, and they're showing, smiling, goody two shoes. And by the time they leave the church, then they're becoming nastier until the next Sunday. And it's like, that's lovely, isn't it? Stop pretending. If you really want to be part of a group of something, at least have the passion to do it. If you don't be hypocritical and say, well, I'm doing mindfulness and the person is not mindful at all in any way, shape, and form. That needs to stop. Be authentic to your own self and learn. Yes, mindfulness is like yoga, it's like meditation, it's like everything else we do. If you want to become a good chef, or a good cook, or if you want to be a good plumber, if you want to be a good architect or a good lawyer, you're going to have to practice and practice and practice until you're that good. It doesn't come overnight. People think it's the magic pill. It's the same with losing weight. Let's talk about losing weight for a minute. Let's talk about that. I had a trainer and I started a program because for the past few years I did, and every decade actually, I gained weight. Not much, but this time it was a little bit more extreme than I wanted to. And I'm like, this is it. Well, we're standing our ground here and we're going to start back to the basics, which I did. And I actually was working with a trainer because they give menus and stuff like that. It's like, I'm not going to do it the way I used to do. I'm going to do it this way because to me it was more important to say, oh, okay, let's see what I can eat, what I can cook, whatever the deal was. So I did the program, which, yay, I'm still on it because I still have to lose a little bit more, few pounds, but not much as I begin. And so I'm very, very happy because actually I was able to regain all of the lean muscles I had. I have them back, yay! But it requires work. It requires discipline, honesty, and it requires to be truly honest with ourselves, not lying about anything, but just being honest with our own self, which is the hardest things to do. But it requires the discipline, okay? I could have gone and gone liposuction like some people do. I could have gone doing, cool sculpting and stuff like that. Yeah, it's feasible. It's the easiest way. It's the rapid way to do things. And you know what? I don't blame it, actually, because if people want to use it, do whatever you want to do. But I decided to go the basics way, which is basically change the way I eat completely, have menus that basically will surprise my body because I changed the way I ate based on my profile for my body, which was awesome, and see the progress when you do this. The magic pill doesn't exist. Okay, there is pills to bring more heat and speed up your metabolism, They are here out there. But the magic pill will not do the work if you do not change the way you do things. They will be there as a supplement, quote unquote, to continue to help you to achieve your goal. A lot of people think when they're seeing a commercial that, oh, yeah, take 2 pills in the morning, 2 at lunchtime, eat whatever you want, you're going to lose weight. I've not seen that magic pill yet. But if you change the way you do things, then this will improve. So when you look at the overall of, when we're looking at mindfulness, change the way you think, see the perspective, really go deep into it. It's like, for me, I use the word diet, yes. Changing the way you do things will help you. And I wasn't eating that unhealthy either to start with, but life took over. And I stopped, actually, because I did yoga for over 20 years. And because life took over, things got chaotic, and I stopped to work out too. I stopped to do my yoga. I stopped to take care of myself. Now, I don't blame anybody, because this is what happened in the past. I'm talking past. This is not what's going on right now. What's going on is eating healthier. Except a couple of weeks ago, we went with Kamala. Bonte Kamala, we went to Dairy Queen actually, and I got a mini, and the mini was enough. Apple pie, one of their ice cream, whatever. So I looked at what was the calorie count. I'm like, okay, I can do this one. That's not a problem. So I went over there, and he took a small one. His small one was twice the size of the mini, and I laughed, and I'm like, he's like, that's tall. And I was like, yeah, you're gonna have to eat it all, buddy. And he's like, yes, I am. I'm like, exactly, Bonte, you're gonna have to eat it all. So, but think about where you are and bring the awareness. Awareness of, for me, when I restarted to finally, it was funny, earlier this year, I'm like, I need some WD-40 for the joint. And I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. I used to be more flexible, which I can still. I was able to put my hands on, when you bent and you're standing, you bent and you can put your hands on the ground. I still was able to do that. But there were some other things I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, God, I need my WD-40. Now I'm fine. I can do my job. I can do everything I want. But it takes practice to go back. It takes practice to really set a new discipline on everything we do. So being aware of, okay, maybe there's a magic pill somewhere. Somebody's going to offer it to me. But you have to be realistic what you're talking about, because it requires us to do the work. Yes, you can go through liposuction, lipo. Yeah, I'm going to call it lipo. Or you can have a band around your stomach, but you still have to be mindful. It's not like some people can let you loose, but generally they will say, okay, you need to eat more sensible. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to change the way you're doing things. Some people won't, and it's not going to help them. And some people will take it to heart and make the right choice. Mindfulness is respecting your own self. It's not only the surrounding, but it's the awareness within yourself. The problem that I see and I saw is, and it's like everywhere else, you got the wannabe and you got the people who really do the job. Somebody said to me, when you're talking about meditation, when you're talking about mindfulness, you got the people who are actually doing it. And you are the one who like to socialize. And that's why they're doing it. So basically, they are not even practicing properly, but they are there because they want to be part of the community. They want to show up. So the question at the end of the day, when you do things, what is your intention? Me, I can talk about the weight loss I've done. It was to go back to my normal weight, which is my more performant weight. Because I could have kept the pounds, but I wasn't feeling good. My body was like, okay, Matt, that's too much. We cannot handle this, because this is not when you're at your best, at your peak. So your energy is not flowing the way it's supposed to be. And it's like, okay, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to do a self-care. It is time. And some people don't like it when you change. Some people realize you're doing things and you get, and I've got feedback from others who's supposed to be mindful and they are pissed because they gained weight and they're like, well, and you're like, well, eat more sensible, take care of your own self, and you will lose the weight. But don't be upset because others are doing it. Being aware of who you are is essential. And that's the key. For me, listening to people pretending like the social one who want to do mindfully because they are social butterflies. Actions speak louder than words. I have seen so many people talking themselves to sleep, but there is no action behind it. When you talk about mindfulness, but you do the opposite of it, it's maybe time for you to sit down and realize what can I do actually for my own self. Because talk is cheap. Again, actions speak louder than words. So think about this one. And it was interesting for me to share the story of the weight loss because still going strong on this one. Maybe I will reveal how many pounds I lost, but it was for me a very good challenge because I had to face a couple of things. One, a reality that I did not know how high I went into my world, and really learning that, like I said, you got your discipline, and when you do things that makes you feel good and your body is in action and in movement and you're feeling, oh, okay, I'm almost there and I feel so much better within my skin. My body is feeling better. My heart's feeling better. My liver is enjoying it. My stomach appreciated for what I've done. My hair, everything changed. But bringing the awareness within us is one of the biggest challenges most people don't. You should be aware. I am aware. Since I'm a freaking kid, I'm aware of all of this. But for most people, they're not aware or they don't want to see it. Awareness brings you back down to who you are, to your roots, to who you truly are. So think about it. Have a beautiful rest of the day and we'll talk to you later. All my love. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.